so much, Clinton. Yeah, it's really the first thing that Jack said when we sat down on the desk. It's insane how crazy that match really could have been. The stakes were almost huge.
Game 5, round 11 earlier between Echo Fox and Red Reserve. While Echo Fox right now are happy, you know, they're helping themselves avoid that relegation. My goodness, man, that is obviously frustrating.
You know, definitely not biased here on the desk, but sometimes as a Call of Duty fan, you just cheer for the storylines like that. I know when we all got here this morning, we were kind of hoping that was the outcome, but let's break down this series map by map. What was the story, Chance, on this first one?
Well, ultimately, the story for TK, I think, is just lack of individual player performances. I think they've had players that have just been lackluster, and I think it's been hurting them. On this map, you did not get that. It was all 4 players playing incredibly well. Chino was a monster. Kenny was a monster. Accuracy did accuracy things. I mean, like, accuracy had an insanely low number of engagements, and sometimes you can be critical of that, but he was just in the hill. There was nothing for him to do. His team was just outslaying everywhere. It was a very easy, solid win. Impressively so on Gibraltar, because we expected that to be one of Echo Fox's better maps. And when something like that happens, it restores my faith just a little bit in TK, because again, if they have players that at times are a little bit lackluster, to step up in a hard point, have those collectively good performances. Going into Atlanta, I know they're still capable of it. Yes, they've fallen off comparatively in the Pro League, but they made playoffs. They did their job. The goal is only to get there, because they don't have to play well now as long as they make it. They just need to play well at the open events, at playoffs, and maps like that restore the confidence.
You know, I think that's the main thing if you're a TK fan. This still seems like it could be one of the nastiest teams once we actually get down to land, but start to see some problems come in the search and destroy as we take a look. Echo Fox was able to take this one.
Yeah, this one was close. I think, did both search and destroys just go 6-4? Was that the map count for this one as well? I believe so. Either way, Ardennes Forest, we know, this in the past was untouchable for the side of Team Kaliber. It's kind of ironic to see how things continue to develop, how things play on out. Certain areas where TK didn't have any holes, they now do. They have things they need to improve upon, absolutely, and we know that, but at this point, you're looking back on TK now, their Game 5 magic seems to have dissipated. Obviously, their overall S&D magic seems to have dissipated, and teams have found what works against TK to beat them in this meta.
So Chance, the first thing that you really said, you were highlighting the fact that, okay, when we talk about what's going on with TK right now, you say there's a little bit of a lack in individual player performance. Is that it? Is that all that it really is in your mind? It's just a few players need to step up in every scenario? For the respawns, yes. I think Chino and Kenny need to step up their game up. And again, that map and roll, we saw it. Chino played great, Kenny played great, and they destroyed the other team. For Search and Destroy, a little bit less so. I think it's less individual, and I think TK has actually done a great job of trying out a ridiculous amount of kind of new strats. Even on Forest, we saw Theory sniping on offense. We've seen Kenny do that. We've seen Chino snipe all on the same map. And I think they've mixed it up enough that they can kind of go back to the drawing boards, figure out what has worked for them, what hasn't. And moving forward, at least for the Search and Destroy, I'm more comfortable for them as a team. All right, well, let's take a look at the capture the flag. And TK comes out quick with 2 caps, Jack.
Yeah, and at that already, I was like, wow, TK, they're back in it. Here we go. They're going to recover from that map. And this was a great sign from Echo Fox today. And it was almost a theme of a lot of our games today in Capture the Flag, where do not count yourself out for some of these lineups. We know Ardennes Forest, it has the preferred versus less preferred side. Echo Fox showed it there. They go down 2-0 on the less preferred side. They come back and outscore them once they get on that preferred side. It happened earlier in the Optic game as well. It was fun to at least see the team continue to fight, which I think is a great sign for this Echo Fox roster. They take the advantage going into Game 4.
Yeah, I mean, we saw both of these teams fight it out all the way to a Game 5, but first stop going to be Game 4 here for us. We'll break down this one. Chance, what was the story of Hardpoint on London Docks? It was, again, TK just looking good collectively. Like, Kenny had a very nice start. It helps when you get a 3-piece on the first hill, but we just saw the players stepped up. They had a very solid game, and we've seen that from them before on Docks as well. I think Echo Fox, to their credit, they played the Warehouse Hill incredible over by 10. Like, that was where they got most of their time at. However, the whole game, Echo Fox just did not bring enough to the table, and really seemed like the biggest difference was no one from TK really played slow. All of them, again, they were there, they were in that game, and they had a pretty controlling win. And I think for Echo Fox, there was one player that it wasn't by a huge margin by any means. It was still a very solid game, but did not perform as well as they would have liked to, let's say, in the kills column. And I think that's kind of what hurt him as well. Now, looking ahead, Jack, you already mentioned all these Game 5s. The Game 5s,
Yeah.
they went the distance each and every time. This one, no different.
Yeah, and again, looking back at TK's map count and how their series went, it's not pretty for Team Kaliber fans. Either way, they're getting to their final moments. They have qualified for playoffs, which is a big thing. They've got a ton of time before that to work on. We still have to have the rest of Division B conclude, which I think favors TK big time. But again, here in this Game 5, it was so interesting to see for me, but it was kind of like the parallel, right, from when we saw the three-piece from Assault where he shot the 3 players in the back, to now see Facento do that to clinch this game, to see this 1v1 with Saints go in favor of Echo Fox. Those are examples of rounds that TK earlier in this year would have taken, would have made that play. This would have been TK doing this, right? How much does that look like the exact moment we saw from Accuracy to win, the CWL, the second major global open of the year? It's very interesting to see how the kind of scripts have turned, how the tables have turned, and it's now TK kind of floundering, having to figure out their identity again.